Okay, I've never done this before, but we are going to do what's called a reaction video. You know what these are. If you've followed YouTube for a while, you know what a reaction video is. But this reaction video is a bit different because I'm going to react to Francesco of Keep Productive and his ranking system on that channel for productivity YouTubers. I am interested because I looked at the timestamps and I'm in that ranking. So I want to see where I fall, but I also want to see where everybody else falls as well. So let's just get to it. Here we go.
So today's video, we're ranking productivity influencers, and as you can imagine, we're going to give you our opinions on these guys. It's not going to be brutal, don't worry, but we're excited to share the best channels you can follow in productivity, and we're going to miss out a few, so we'll list them all below. However, we'll probably do a part 2 if we manage to get some time.
Okay, I recognize some of the channels already, at least some of the people already. We've got Ali, ABDAAL in there. We've got Thomas Frank. There's a couple people I don't recognize yet, so let's see where we go. And tier makers, interesting stuff. I like Francesco, what he's done here with using something I've seen on YouTube for things like best uniform rankings in hockey and, best, X, Y, or Z. I'm seeing that stuff. So to rank it this way is pretty interesting.
So if you're new here, we are a productivity channel, so make sure you subscribe. It's Keep Productive. It'd be great to have you here in the community. But this one is just a little bit of a fun video. We'd normally do reviews and all types of breakdowns on
this
top
is going to be
10
fun.
Different applications you could use. So we've picked out a few people in the space.
Got me there twice.
We've got 3 ratings: solid, great, and super. So solid is those folks who are brilliant.
So there you go. Solid is like the lowest level. But it has an exclamation point, so there's that. Great does not have an exclamation point, so that's interesting. And then super, so there's no C or D, which is good, because I would be worried.
Brilliant YouTubers and covering productivity. Great is just slightly more, not interesting. I'm just being a savage video. Slightly more sort of intriguing, let's say that.
Okay.
And super is those channels that I think definitely you should check out as a must-watch on YouTube. Obviously, these are all must-watch, but we're just narrowing them down for you. We haven't given these ratings below because we don't think any of these channels are
good
bad.
Call.
Good call. Or whatever ranking we'd call that. So let's go through this list and let's rank these guys. Right, so we're going to start left to right. And as you can see here, we have a familiar face as our top sort of option. So we have Ali ABDAAL. He runs a fantastic channel. To be honest, I really like Ali's content because the way that he breaks down stuff and the way that he presents videos is particularly well done.
Ali's great. I love his channel. I love what he's been doing. He honestly burst onto the scene and kind of took hold of the YouTube space for productivity, and I think that's fantastic. And he doesn't just talk about apps either. Like, I know a lot of people love apps and things to do with apps. I love my fair share of apps too, but I'm on this channel I don't talk about them as much. Ali does talk about them, but not to the same degree as, say, Keep Productive does. So I really like Ali. I can't see him ranking anywhere less than super.
What he does really well is capture stuff on screen so that you guys really get to grips with all the information that you need to know, whether that's top apps or whether it's a productivity hack or recommendation. So I'm going to put Ali in great. I'm not going to put him super just because he gets enough attention already.
Wait, whoa.
However,
whoa. Ali is like, you got to put him in super, I think. So if he's great, then who's super?
He has a fantastic channel. So next up is Thomas Frank. So Thomas is
friend
obviously
of
someone that I've
Productivityist
followed for a fair while, and I think his content again is brilliant. What I really like that differs from many of the other channels, maybe apart from Matt Diavella, is his content so cinematic in the way that he presents stuff. He tells it.
Yeah, Thomas and Matt. I think Matt's been on Thomas's channel and vice versa, but I definitely see there's a correlation there. Thomas has been on my podcast before. I've known Thomas for years. Makes great stuff and has gotten better and better and better. Love his work. But if maybe the cinematic thing puts him into super then, because if Ollie's not got the cinematic stuff, maybe it's the combination of that stuff. I guess we'll see.
A really good story, and he condenses his videos with great scientific facts and information. So I'm also going to put him on rank with Ali as well. Now the next one is
whoa. Wait, Wow. Okay. So that's two people, two YouTubers that I think should be in the super that you've put in the exclamation pointless great area. Wow. Uh, wow. I'm stunned. I mean, this is a fun video that you put together, Francesco, but really? Who's up there then?
Shu Omi. Now, for those who don't know, Shu runs a fantastic channel. It covers things like notes, productivity, methodologies, and concepts, but it also covers apps like Roam Research and also.
So I've seen a bit of Shu's videos, but only when I was learning about Zettelkasten, or at least trying to get a better handle around it. And when I was initially looking at Roam, I went to Shu stuff. Great channel. Really like it. I love the consistency across the board too. With, I think that again, Shu has put together some great stuff.
Also fairly newer apps that are covering the bidirectional linking space. So I'm definitely putting him as super because I think he's a really up and coming channel, and the way that he puts together a video is phenomenal. Just because of the way that he does take a simple a complex concept and makes it simple, which I think for a lot of people that are, say new to like Zettelkasten, and they're like, what is that? He does a great job of bringing it down to earth. So I've got Michelle.
Okay, we're going to see who. I don't know who that is yet. We're going to see that in a second. But I think maybe you've got to have like the well-heeled or established YouTubers for productivity in one, and then the well-heeled or the new ones or the emerging ones. Because I don't think Shu's channel is if you're going to go this in pure rankings, I don't think it's above Ali and Thomas. But this is your ranking, so...
Michelle be up next. I'm also going to put her alongside Ali and Thomas. She runs a brilliant channel. I believe she's Australian, and she covers, it's mainly like productivity tips and recommendations, but she does it again in a very cinematic, relaxed way.
See, I like this. I don't know Michelle. I'm going to have to check out Michelle's channel because I don't see anything here having to do with apps necessarily, but I like this. And by the way, I like the whole like 5 ways, 10 ways, how to, like, I think I'm going to have to check Michelle's channel out. And she's in great, I think. Is that where he put her? Anyway, I'm going to have to check her stuff out.
She has some great workbooks and resources, a bit like Lavender, who runs a channel on YouTube as well. She covers sort of like the practical tips and recommendations to improving certain aspects of life, whether that's eating a bit healthier or approaching, cleaning your wardrobe out a little bit more, and even productivity apps and tools like we cover here on the channel. So next up is Matt Diavella. I'm going to put him in solid. This is not a dig or anything like that.
Whoa! What? Okay. Wow. You're putting... Oh. But...
I feel like it is because the ranking is like... it is still a ranking. But I really like Matt's content, but I really like the way that he presents a video as like a really good story, a bit like Thomas does. Very cinematic, very easy to follow. But I'm going to say just a little bit less.
No. See, so this is the thing. I think Thomas was inspired by Matt. Matt has made movies. I've seen a movie of Matt's in the theater, and he has something on Netflix right now. Wow.
Only because I think the way that he does it, sometimes I feel like that he covers the same story a couple of times, but that's only a little bit of a nickel. But it's probably because we're in the productivity app tool space and they're like, something's news every time. But everyone could say that about me. They're probably like, oh, this is another to-do snap.
No, you do it too. I mean, yes, it's a news channel, but you talk about the same Oh. Oh, man. Oh, wow. Solid. All right, then.
Looks the same as the other one. But you know what I mean? So just personal preference, okay? If
sure.
Not, if you're watching, I'm sorry. Okay, next up is Hareshiba. I'm going to put her content as super. Again, someone who deserves a lot more subscribers in terms of their content. So I've featured her in my top 12 productivity channels.
See, this is great because back when I first started doing productivity stuff, Gina Trapani was like the only woman that was really in the space. that was getting notoriety, right? Like people knew. Already we've got 2 women that unfortunately I haven't come across. So I've got to spend some time looking into this because I think that's fantastic. And looking at this channel, there's definitely a mix of like apps and not apps. So I'll have to check out Harshibar's channel. Thanks. This is a good thing. See, because I'm seeing things I haven't seen before. So there's that. I mean, the rankings for Matt and Ollie and Thomas, especially Matt. I don't know, but it's good to see some people I've never seen before.
Which I recommend to check out below. But basically, she does content about like all different applications, but I quite like her approaches and reviews, specifically like when she did her Obsidian, Taskade and Notion reviews. They were really in-depth, much better than mine. And also what I liked about it is she granularly breaks down features, but also because of the way that her channel's set up, she exposes potential issues with productivity apps, like more recently when she covered the Notion E2E encryption side of stuff, and also the whole productivity space, and why there is an issue. I really like how she explained the concept and how she delivered it as well in the video. Much like Shu, she takes a concept that's quite complex and brings it down to a simple level. So, Mike and Matty are also a great channel. I think they're alongside Ali and Thomas. They do content more for students. They're actually part of the team at Remno, the founding members, I believe it is. But they cover all types of feature comparison and breakdowns for things like Remno, Notion, and all that, and which one.
Okay, so I like the fact that they're involved with an app, but they make a channel. They have a channel. They make content that doesn't always correlate with the app. I think more app-centric, like developers should do that, because then it shows maybe why they built what they built in the first place. But to just talk about your app all the time, and I have to watch their channel, so I don't know for sure if they do that, but it is nice to see just by looking at their thumbnails that they've got a mix. So that's good. But yeah, I have to check their stuff out.
Which one's more suitable for different situations, but they also do some breakdowns of methods and tools. Now, next up is, I'm going to put great to Peter Akkies. He is an Amsterdam-based, I believe it's Amsterdam, or Netherlands in general. I think he's an Amsterdam-based YouTuber who has more recently been making videos about Things 3 and OmniFocus, but also about sort of methodologies and concepts. I really like Peter is very much following the older frameworks, like Getting Things Done by David Allen, but I think he does a really good job of explaining
Tried, tested, and true. Peter,
so next up is
stuff,
Effective Remote Work, which is run by a friend, Justin DeRose. So I've got to be careful on where I
like Justin's stuff.
No, I'm just kidding. But basically, Justin does great content, and he covers mainly about how remote work, sort of overview stuff, but he really digs deep into Obsidian. We have an Obsidian.
If you're going to look at anybody who talks about Obsidian, there's like 4 people. There's Mike Schmitz and David Sparks, who are friends of mine who know a lot about it. There's Nick Milo, who runs Linking Your Thinking, and I'm pretty sure I saw Nick's logo in the mix here, so he might even be ranked here, and Justin. So if you're into Obsidian, I mean, that's where I'm spending my time. I talked about that in the Goodbye Evernote video. I'm learning from those 4 people in different ways. Check out Justin's stuff.
Calls together, but he's
got a great podcast
into
too.
How bidirectional linking and the concepts like that work as well. So I'd recommend it if you're looking at sort of those sort of deeper note-taking applications that you might want to use every day. Now, next up is Steve Dotto. Now, I'm going to put Steve.
All right, let's see where Steve is.
I'll explain why. Because I followed Steve since I actually. Steve was one of the reasons I started doing YouTube, because I remember when I was in my room. This is probably about 10 years ago.
Steve is going to flip. Well, maybe, I don't know. It's all in good fun. But hey, Steve, if you're watching this, at least you're in the same level as Matt Diavella, right? So there you go. I wonder where I am now when I think about it. I'm the final reveal. So where do I end up? I think it'll bug Steve if I'm above him. Steve and I are buddies, so we can kind of go on about this. Francesco, whew. And I know you kind of, you've known Steve for a long time, and I think you're just saying he inspired you to get into productivity and do some of the more YouTube, especially the YouTube stuff.
I don't know. I was ready to go to university. I was in my parents' room, my house in my house, and I was like watching YouTubers. And Steve just did such a great job at covering productivity apps. And I obviously knew like really high interest in productivity apps and how they work. And Steve was really good in terms of, you know, not influencing me, but inspiring me to do that sort of content. I've put him in solid just because he doesn't cover productivity apps as much anymore. He covers more sort of content creation tools.
That's fair.
However, I still highly rate Steve in terms of his content, especially when he covers Evernote and things like that, really in depth. And his personality oozes through on the channel. He is such... it's weird now because we worked for a couple of years on a course together, and when I started working with him, I got such huge imposter syndrome because he's such, like, when you've watched someone since you were younger and you get to work with them, it's insane because you're like, whoa, I shouldn't be doing this, because it's like we're sort of bringing back down to reality. But what Steve is like, he is, you know, all the way through, you know what I mean? He's somebody that really is true to his character, like such a nice guy, really smart, really, I love what he's doing with sort of the over 50s in terms of like getting them and aspiring to do content. Good. It's really impressive. So huge kudos to him. So
Steve and Matt at the bottom.
Another super channel. So I didn't think I'd be putting this one super, but I think that Scott's content on his channel is doing so well.
Scott, another Canadian. Congrats, Scott, on this fun ranking of putting you up in super. Scott does great stuff. Scott was at the Big Ready. He was a panelist at the Big Ready in 2021. I like Scott's channel. It's definitely app centric in most cases. I think almost all of the videos I've watched are app centric for him. But Scott does great stuff. So, you know, he's definitely warranted to, especially if the ranking is around app stuff, because Scott knows that stuff very well.
In terms of the amount of apps he covers, he does a better job at me at bringing together all these different apps and stuff like that. And I would really love the way that he presents it.
Sorry.
Scott's got a very impressive skill at being able to present information in a really relaxed manner, but also explaining all the...
That said, Francesco, I want to be clear. Scott's really good at maybe digging deep, but you're the one that kind of exposes new apps to people that may not have heard about them before, or even the fringe apps. So Scott goes into very specific ones. You've got a range, so let's be abundantly clear about that.
All the urgency and details, the information you need to know, and I really like that style. Covers everything from Trello to ClickUp.
I recognize some other faces here.
Brilliant content. So Carl is another great channel. Carl is one of those people that just consistently puts out content. Like he's done over...
He has. Carl rather, if you want to learn about Todoist, you go to Carl. If you want to go learn about Evernote, although you know how I feel about Evernote now, if you've watched my Goodbye Evernote video, then you go to Carl. Carl makes great stuff. So I'm glad he's on this list. And he's also above Steve. So there's that.
Over like 100 or 200 videos on Todoist and 100 videos on Evernote. It's insane. He's pretty much like...
He does other things too. Carl doesn't just talk about... Yeah, he talks about a bunch of stuff too, so it's not just Todoist.
And I really like Carl's approach to videos as well. He has so much energy in person, and I think he's like such a nice person, really interesting character as well. Got a huge love for James Bond as well, which is really cool. So I'm going to put
did not know that.
Danny Hatcher in super. I think he's got some huge potential, and I'll explain why. So Danny does videos about...
So I'm guessing that it's all based on potential, and super is like the motivator to keep going. Danny's making some great stuff as well. I know I was. I had a chat with Danny for his channel, and we chatted, and it was a great... I mean, I like what Danny's doing. I like... he had this one video where he was having a conversation with himself, and I thought it was quite good. So Danny, the nice thing is Danny's experimenting with the medium, which I think is great, because so did Matt, and so did Thomas, and Thomas and Matt still do. So Danny, I think, is headed down that path as well, which I think is kind of cool. But he's also combining some other things. So I think he's still, I wouldn't say figuring things out, but trying to see which way he wants to go, maybe. I don't know.
It's a range of different videos, but mainly productivity apps and tools, and he does quite a large amount of live chats and deep dives. But what Danny does really well, and we actually chatted not in person on the call about this a bit more, but what Danny does really well is he has started to humanize productivity a bit more, and he's doing these things like sketches around productivity, or skits I think they're called. So it's not it's not sort of like it's making it fun and more interesting.
Yeah,
and that's really good, because for a lot of people that come into this space, it can be quite daunting and overwhelming, and you know, like, oh my god, I've got to be following all these people, or I've got to be using this tool, or I've got to be approaching it in this way. But the way that he's bringing a lot of humor into productivity is a great move. I think hopefully in the future I can work with him on one if I get polish up on some acting skills or something like that. But I think he does a fantastic job of creating these really smart little videos. And he's also, I only checked out yesterday, he's done a video on productivity news, which is quite cool. So he's overviewing all of the lessons that people were sharing on their YouTube channels. So it's like a content curation channel, right?
All right, who's next?
Brilliant. Next up is Tom Solid.
Next?
And as for a
surname,
Tom
Solid in Solid.
Tom does a great job on his channel at
I like Tom's
does
stuff.
Really well is he blends not just physical experiences, but he blends digital experiences as well.
What I like about Tom's stuff is that he reminds me a lot of like when Steve Dotto was doing like the live infomercials, like not infomercials, but the live TV show back in the day, because I'm old too, right? And I like how he shows off technology. So it's not just apps, but he actually does like a lot of unboxings and does that. I like what Tom does. So good. And again, putting him in Solid just makes sense.
Well, and he has a great way of presenting them. I really like how Tom does his scan and printer reviews in such a high level of detail. Tom's the sort of person that if you asked him like what application he uses, he could tell you the granular features in every one of them, and that is sometimes really rare in the productivity space, because sometimes when you become knowledgeable about something, you also lose some knowledge, and he does a great job
watching
of
Tom's stuff
overviewing
for
that.
sure.
So I'm going to put him in Solid, but again, I think his content is fantastic. Next up is
who we got next?
Mariana's Study Corner. Again, I'm going to put her in Solid as well.
I don't know Mariana's stuff.
She's great at overviewing apps and also tips and recommendations for improving the way that you work. Layla
worth looking at.
Pomper. I think Layla Pomper. I don't want to get her last name wrong, but she does
Layla Pomper.
Mainly a ClickUp channel.
Oh,
again,
ClickUp.
A really solid channel.
I think I've seen
really
Layla's stuff.
Content.
Yeah.
What she does really well is she summarizes the best ClickUp videos and hones in deep, especially on the automation side. She does and has.
I love ClickUp. I'm Ask Evie. Yvonne Hyman is somebody who I go to for all my ClickUp stuff, but I know that Layla does some stuff as well. ClickUp, you can't sleep on it. I don't think anybody is that's using it, but it's a great piece of software, especially when you're managing a massive. You want to scale up. When you want to scale up with your project management tool, I think ClickUp's on point. And Layla,
she's
gotten in there.
Clienting,
absolutely.
Consulting. So if you're looking at ClickUp, I'd recommend checking that out.
Did he say
Brian
clienting?
Jenks is another channel I put in Super. Again, up and coming, doing a super job in producing some videos, but about like Obsidian and different types of bidirectional linking applications, but going super deep in terms of what plugins to use, how to set things up, workflows. It is pretty impressive. Linking Your Thinking, another one.
He's
Nick
blazing
Milo.
through
His
these last
content
ones.
is stupidly
Wants to get
good,
to me.
and mainly because what he's
Nick.
doing
There,
is
I was right. It was
again,
Nick. Nick's Linking Your Thinking program is fantastic, and if you want to really understand PKM, I think that he's the guy. And that program, when you're working with all the people, it's massively successful. I wish I'd put more into it than I did. Admittedly, I shouldn't have taken it when I did. I should have had more bandwidth, because Nick gets it, and there's so much. His content is so rich. So I'm glad he's on.
Bidirectional linking market, which I think is a hobbyist market, into the front frame, and really impressive content right here. I definitely think he's doing something that, much like Danny Hatcher, making it more engaging, more fun. His visuals, I think he's got video experience, a lot of TV editing at the moment.
Yeah, he has.
He's also great at bringing that together, and you can tell from the content. So finally, I accidentally did a duplicate of that one, but it's Mike Vardy,
right, here we go.
productivityist, runs a channel, only posts less often than maybe more other these guys, but I really love his content, because when he posts it, what Mike does, he makes it really authentic, and learning lessons from Mike over the years has been really beneficial. Much like Steve Dotto, I found them sort of like my work uncles, sort of like helping me to make better decisions in my productivity. Both Mike and I think Mike Moore is definitely given before we had had Otto, definitely our boy, definitely a lot of advice about how to approach things, and I'm implementing that more and more as time goes on, like the day theming concepts, instead of like overwhelming myself, and I'm very grateful. And I think his channel is a great summary of how, when he's on video, he can do a great job at explaining a concept.
Then I will do more,
making it very authentic. So, folks, hopefully you enjoyed today's video. That was all of the productivity influencers. Leave your favorite productivity influencers if you missed them below, and maybe we'll do a ranking. I'll watch a couple of their videos if I haven't yet already, and I'll do a...
All right. So, on to what I thought. First off, I'm in the same category as Matt Diavella. It's a win. I'll take it. And I'm tied with Steve, so Steve can't gloat over me that, you know, he ranked higher. What I loved about this is it was just fun. And if anything, like Francesco, you said, one thing he said about my stuff, and I did pay attention to mine, was I don't make a lot of videos. I didn't. I've started to upload more frequently. In June, I was doing daily. In July, I've gotten back to like kind of a 2 to 3 times a week kind of thing. But people are watching, and I'm having fun doing it, so I'm going to keep doing it. And then, of course, when I get motivated by, you know, these kind of things, when especially the kind words that you share, I definitely want to do more. Other things I want to do is I want to spend more time learning about the people I didn't know about. You know, I want to spend more time looking at some of those that you ranked. Now, there's other people, and I think you mentioned that at the tail end, and that aren't here. Maybe you need to do another one. Maybe you need to I don't know how this looks, but I had a lot of fun watching it. And I don't know if I did this reaction video exactly right. My son came in, and if you watched the live stream that I did when I was, you know, it was like a working session, an office hour session, and I asked him what I should call the reaction video. He told me what it should be called, but I didn't necessarily know if I did it right. So if I didn't do this reaction video right, let me know in the comments. If you think there's other YouTubers that should be ranked, let me know in the comments. If you're one of the YouTubers that were ranked, let me know in the comments what you think about the rankings. And let me know what you think about some of those YouTubers that were ranked as well, or, you know, what you want to see from me. I'm not going to do a ranking. Maybe I could do a ranking of apps or a ranking of systems or something like that. I don't know. It's not something that I'm going to jump on right away. I just wanted to jump on this because it came out literally only a few days ago as of this recording, and I wanted to make sure that I shared it with you. So there you go. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch today. Thanks to Francesco at Keep Productive for doing this little fun video. If you're not subscribed to Keep Productive, make sure you do so, because Francesco does some great work as well. He should have ranked himself in there. And there's a lot of comments in this video that said, where are you in this, Francesco? So I would rank you in great with an exclamation point. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. See you later.